Hello YouTube, this is Sam Gerrans from Qur'an.com. Today is Monday the 10th of June 2019 and today I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm here primarily to see some people who are associated with my work and with whom I'm interested to meet and spend time, but while I'm here I'm also having a bit of a look around. And I went out to get something to eat and I was walking up the road and I found this place behind me, which is the Al-Faruq Masjid of Atlanta. And my experiences in masajid have been fairly uninspiring, to be honest with you, but I thought, I'm on a sort of location, as it were. I'll just go in and have a look around. And as I went in, they were reasonably friendly in a sort of, hey white boy, what are you doing here kind of way. And I just thought, when in Rome, I'll pray. So I washed and I prayed. And there was only one chap in the main hall, in the men's hall, just sitting there, cursorily, supposedly reading the Qur'an, but actually having a long and extremely loud conversation on his mobile telephone, which didn't stop because somebody had come to pray in the house of God, supposedly. Just talked right the way through it, organising, his business stuff in English, loudly, right the way through. And I don't know, it just kind of confirmed to me the pointlessness, absolute pointlessness of trying to wrestle with brand Islam, and why I'm not fundamentally interested in it. I do like the architecture, some of it. This is quite a well-made and well-maintained mosque. However, it's got non-Quranic quotes everywhere. It's really a house of worship to the religion of ḥādīth. That's really what it is, to be fair. And I would have less of a problem with brand Islam if it just admitted as much. On the walls in Arabic, Allah, and right opposite Muhammad. If this isn't shirk, I don't know. There's no arguing with it, and I'm not going to really get into it. I'm not fundamentally interested in it. But I thought that, while I was here on my investigations, I'd pop in and have a look. But I pretty quickly regretted it, to be perfectly honest. Something else I want to mention while I think of it, I've noticed in America, everything's made out of cardboard. The majority of the houses that I've seen, if you look at them, even the ones that appear to be made out of brick, are not made out of brick, they're made out of wood. And there's just this sort of brick facade. Everything, you're walking around these cities, you get the feeling that, there's about a 24-hour fire here and there'd be pretty much nothing left. It's a sort of symphony in impermanence, and coming from Europe, where we still got stuff built by the Romans in England, and bits and pieces before that. This is, obviously America is a new country and everything, but it's a new country that looks like it's not really built to last. If you know my work and know my channel, I think you'll guess where I am. It's Georgia Guidestones. If you don't know about these, I do recommend that you look them up and read what they've got to say. A lot of what they say sounds fairly reasonable if you don't look too closely. It talks a lot about rationality and about caring for nature and all of that. As long as you just overlook the fact that they want to maintain the world population at just 500 million, which is in the region of 6 billion less than are alive right now. How you get to that figure isn't something that it really discusses. However, whoever it was that paid to have these put into place obviously had enough money and enough time to think that it was worth making this kind of statement. Obviously, for those of us who understand that we are ruled, that there is a plan, and that plan doesn't look so great for the rest of us, no matter how rational those at the top of the plan might consider themselves to be, these stones and the message which they hold are a cause for concern at the very least. And for those of us who are branded conspiracy theorists, it gives us, I would say, a very strong argument that we are ruled, and that the designs of those who rule us are not necessarily for our benefit. If you don't know about the Georgia Guidestones, I recommend that you look into them and take the time to consider what they say carefully. And like all declarations, it superficially sounds very fair and possibly even good, but just consider how the people who had the money to put this in place might want to achieve the goals that they talk about there. It's now the day after the trip to the Georgia Guidestones. I've had a bit of a chance to digest some of it. This channel isn't about quote-unquote conspiracy theories exactly, and working out all the hundreds of thousands of different ways daily planning to chop it up into small pieces. But I do think the Georgia Guidestones are of interest. The Russian translation of the English is just full of errors. Basic errors. These aren't slight errors. These are it looks like it's been put through Google Translate and then not spell checked. And clearly this whole project not only cost a lot to set up, but is also being maintained. It's surrounded by cameras. Clearly somebody's cutting the grass. It's got fences. It's being kept up. So there's an ongoing budget for this place. However much it costs to put this together, it's got to be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and yet there are basic, and I do mean basic, errors in the Russian version of the text. I think I've got photos of all of the sides of it. If you speak any of these languages natively, could you let me know in the comments down below whether there are errors? You don't need to go through the Russian because I already know that. It's idiotic, and because I'd be interested to know. I'm of the opinion that it's at least it's inconsistent for somebody with high agency planning skills, access to money, to put something like this into place. And the English version is perfect. Not to spend the money getting proper translations done. I don't think so. There were a few other discrepancies that were very interesting about the place. There's a slab about 10 or 15 meters away from the main monument, and it says that there's a time capsule planted underneath it, and then it says that it should be brought up or dug up on such and such a date, but there's no date there. I thought that was interesting. Also, there are some actual errors in the cutting of the stone. In the top right-hand corner of the slab with the English, there's just an error there. It's apparent error. It looks as though the stone was cut in order to be set in a different direction. I'll include the photograph, but it looks as though the stone was cut in order to be set actually parallel with the central stone, with the capstone, rather than at an oblique angle. And it looks as though the capstone was set for the first slab to be kind of dropped into it. Is this an error? Would a stonemason who does this professionally make such an error? I don't know. I find it inconsistent. So for my money, there's another story. There's a story of errors. There's a story of a monument that would have looked, should have looked, could have looked different to this. But I don't have enough information. So if you're able to supply information on the other languages, whether there are any errors, we don't need anything on the Russian, I already know. But on the other languages, are there mistakes? If so, what are they? I'd be very interested to know. And in summary, today is my last day in Atlanta. I didn't come here to look at the city. I've had a cursory glance at bits and pieces of it, but that wasn't why I came here. I came here to meet people, and we spent the evening together yesterday, and frankly, it was great. And again, I go back to what I said before. It's difficult to overestimate, the importance of genuine fellowship. This is a Christian term, fellowship amongst the believers. And for me, if we talk about friendships, then that's pretty much all I'm interested in. So that was great. We're spending the rest of today together, and then the next stop is Washington, DC. That's all for now. If you're listening on YouTube, you can download my full translation of the Qur'an free using the button in the top right hand corner, or buy the hard copy there at 10% less than on Amazon. I also encourage you to sign up for the Qur'anite Plus newsletter on the site to get occasional micro updates. You can download the audio from my YouTube videos to your mobile device using the links in the drop down below. I recommend meetquranites.com to connect with other Qur'an alone believers. Like if you like, comment if you have something constructive to say, and subscribe to get more each week. And use the link in the drop down below to donate if you would like to help me keep doing this. And remember, this life is short, eternity is long. If you want good trees, plant good seeds.